Welcome back to Irreverent Business Podcast, where we take seriously sometimes the things that should be taken seriously, and sometimes we don't. And today we're going to talk about travel. Travel.
Yep.
So I'm here with my friend Mary from Solara Expeditions.
Yep.
And she is a licensed travel agent, which some of you thought was a thing of the past. But she's here to convince us it might not be.
It is not. It is not a thing of the past.
All right, Mary, here's the deal. I need you to give me one statement. This is your irreverent business hot take. And I'm going to tell you whether I 100% agree with it or 100% disagree with it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Mary, what is your irreverent business hot take?
Never make your reservations through AI.
I don't even think I have enough context to agree, or I am going to 100% disagree with you.
Okay, so what's your reason?
Here's why I'm going to disagree with you on it, is I think it, I've never tried it, but I love AI. I think AI can solve so many of our problems. So if it's going to save me money, why wouldn't I do it? Defend your statement, Mary.
Okay, first of all, if there's no guarantee it's going to save you money. Second of all, it will put together itineraries that are impossible because it doesn't understand everything to do with travel. And it will pick what's out there already. So if you want to travel and you want to do specific things because your 2-year-old has to have their nap at 3, it's not going to take that into consideration.
This might be, to record, the best irreverent business hot take that we've had so far. What do you mean by it doesn't have available all of the things that are out there? I mean, doesn't AI have access to literally the whole internet? So what does it not have access to that you have access to?
It doesn't know you.
Fair enough.
It knows general, but it does not know you. I get to know my clients. I get to know what they like, what they don't like. Do they want, are they nightlife people? Are they not? Do you want to be in a kid's hotel, or do you want to be as far away from one as possible? How far is it from the restaurants? How, that kind of thing. It doesn't do that well.
Okay, there has to be some history to this irreverent business hot take. There has to be some experience that you've had with people booking through AI.
Yes. They have come to, not necessarily me, but other travel agents, to fix their itineraries after they realized this is not going to work for us or for me.
Is it scheduling? Is that one of the biggest things it misses? Like, it doesn't account for travel or distance or whatever?
Right. And your family, do you want to spend 2 hours in traffic, to get to your hotel? Because it's not going to take traffic into account. It's just going to take distance.
It seems to me like there's been a progression to where it was like the in-person travel agent. And I remember growing up in Alaska where there was a travel agent in downtown, and you would go to if you wanted to book Hawaii or your Disney cruise or whatever it was. And it was like, that was the option, right?
Yeah.
Then we entered the world of online scheduling, which was Expedia and all of the Priceline and different things like that. Now people are actually trying to plan their trips with AI. And yet you're a travel agent who's an actual human being.
Right.
What is it that inspired you to even get into this?
I want to be a problem solver because you're going to have some issues pop up on your trip.
100% agree.
Yeah. And I love people. I love hearing what they want. I love curating things that I put together because I know my clients. I don't have a problem with people using AI as a general itinerary organizer, but don't book through it. Book through an agent that knows you, because they'll go, oh, no, you're not going to like that. Let's rearrange that. So it is good for that, but not to take it all the way to the end and you pay and then you're stuck with that itinerary. That to me is the difference. And I think AI can work for that. And I think it would be great because if you say, if you're looking at your vacation, you're like, I have no idea where I want to go, then that would be great. Start with AI. Say, hey, I want this, I'm this, where can I go?
It could serve as a thought partner.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But like I said, it doesn't take into account a lot of things, and that's the issue. Like I just told you earlier, okay, Qantas just upped all their prices. It will take a while to take that into an account.
Gotcha.
And okay, the news is Spirit Airlines might not be around too much longer.
I saw that.
So don't go booking 6 months out on a Spirit Airlines
So you're on
flight.
top of this stuff. I mean, let's just kind of state the obvious. When this episode is being recorded, there's some travel inconsistencies happening right now, obviously in the Middle East, but also in Europe. What's the latest on international travel that you're seeing?
Well, actually, they just released 4 cruise ships out of the Strait of Hormuz that are coming back. But in Europe, they've changed the way they do visas between countries, and there's a bunch of different requirements. And it's hard to navigate. And like I told you, Greece just said, nah, we're not going to do that. So now I know, okay, if you want an uncomplicated itinerary, go to Greece right now.
And that's not something AI is going to be able to pick up on in the spur of the moment travel.
No, there's nothing wrong with Europe, but it's just, you need to be aware of what the requirements are. And I'm not even certain what they all are yet for all the countries. Because if you think about it, it's a very large area with a ton of countries. And each one has its own autonomy. So.
Let me clarify then, because you're not just booking the trips then. Like that's not like if I were to come to you and say, hey, I want to do this, elaborate or not even elaborate trip. I want to do a fairly basic trip with my family, maybe some extended family. What do I get working directly with you that I wouldn't get elsewhere? Because if I'm just going to book for the lowest price, why wouldn't I just go online? Are you just done at booking, or do you go beyond that with people?
Oh yeah. And if I have access to thousands of travel agents. So if someone says, I want to go to New York and this is what I want to do, I don't know a whole lot about New York, but I know people that do. And they will tell me, no, don't stay at that hotel. It's too far from this or too far from that. And that you won't have access to.
So what happens if there's an issue with the booking? Is that something that I just have to go get on the phone with the airline and take care of?
No, that is what I do.
Okay.
We have many suppliers, and being a part of a consortia, you have backing, and it's hundreds and thousands of people. So it's great. You don't become a number. I've been on that end and waited for hours and went to the airport only to be told, go home, come back again tomorrow, that kind of stuff. And you won't have that if you have me. I can guarantee you will get something resolved where you will benefit and not have being stuck on the phone trying to chase your kids around the airport.
So you're saying you'll actually call the airline on my behalf if there's an issue?
Oh yeah, and do. And if I use a supplier that books your trip, then I call them and they are instantly on it. I had clients in Fiji on their honeymoon, got to the hotel and said, okay, we have, all inclusive. And they said, oh, no, you don't. They called me and
Which is what you want to hear on your honeymoon. Yeah.
Right. Like, no.
Yeah, it's not all inclusive. We're going to charge you thousands of dollars. Yeah.
Right. In another country. I called who I booked through, the company I booked through, and before they had their room, it was all solved. And they went to their room and that was it. It was a great time for them. So that kind of thing. You don't have to be concerned with that. You don't have to have 18 phone call numbers written down like, oh, I booked this with this and that with that. That's not going to happen.
I hear you saying supplier. I hear you saying all this stuff. Mary, this sounds really expensive because it sounds like there's a lot of parties involved here. And I've got a lot of children. So that is that true? I mean, is this a luxury thing that if you're a luxury travel person, I can work with Mary, but if you're just normal old Jake here, you're out of my price range?
No, I mean, I can actually book through Expedia on a travel agent site. So if you want,
would it cost more money having you do that, or why wouldn't I?
It would be the same. And the benefit is I have perks that you wouldn't be available to
Wait,
get.
hold the phone. Mary, how do you make money?
I,
Because if
well,
I mean, what does it cost if I were to work with you? What does it cost out of my pocket to work with you?
okay, up front, I do charge a fee because I didn't in the beginning. And when you don't have skin in the game, you are just going to take all of my ideas and go book
Okay, fees
somewhere
scare
else.
me. How much are we talking?
I charge $150 for a full itinerary. And
Wait, time out.
yeah, that's it.
$150? I was
Right.
expecting you to say like $1,500. So it
No,
costs $150 for me to engage your services to plan a
correct.
trip for my family.
Correct. Because you're not paying me. I get paid by suppliers.
Gotcha. Do they mark up their costs
They,
in order for you? I mean, like,
right.
again, like I'm genuinely curious here. Is this going to cost me more money to go through you than it is to figure it out myself?
No, because all resorts, airfares, all of them have commission already in there. So you're paying
Gotcha.
it without realizing that there's a commission.
So whether it's Expedia or Priceline or Costco or whatever, there's already a
Correct.
markup.
There's already a
Okay.
markup. And so what a travel agent gets and how they're paid is instead of Hilton Hotel getting all their commission back, they have to give half to me. That's how I get
This
paid.
is why this seems like such a thing of the past, the travel agent thing, but this could actually save me money and I don't have to fight with the airline.
Right.
Hold on, I need more
Right.
espresso to figure this. Okay, this is fascinating to me. Now, the other thing I've heard from the modern travel, is that what we call it? Are you a modern travel agent? What's the
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah.
I've heard rumor, I do not know anything about this, that some of these are like multi-level marketing. Like this is your Tupperware and, and your Scentsy.
Right.
Do those exist in the travel?
There's
Like
some around.
you can recruit other travel agents and you get commissions based on their commissions.
Right. It's not my
That's not what you do though.
it's not what I want. I mean, some people do, but it kind of happens organically, more like, okay, I can't handle all my clients coming in. I'm going to have you
Got
help
you.
me out.
More of a partnership
It's
than
more of a
like an
partnership.
MLM. Okay.
Right. I'm not out there going to events trying to get people to sign up under my name. Absolutely not.
This is so okay. My mind is buzzing now because I have a lot of different thoughts here. Number one, how in the world did you get into this? Like, was this just like a Saturday afternoon? Like, I think I want to be a travel agent, or was there a situation or a context that kind of drove you into this?
Right. I've traveled a lot and I've had a lot of crazy things happen. And when you travel a lot, you do.
Okay, what's some of the craziest things you've had happen?
A cargo door was frozen open and I
Stop
I
it.
lost my connecting flights.
Stop it.
That was Portland.
God bless. I got my Portland hat on here. God bless Portland.
Right.
Okay.
So things like that. I've gotten injured. We were in Australia and we got a rental car and I'm trying to figure out the air conditioning and it's hot and we're all okay. And my husband goes, "Here it is," and he clicks it on. Well, dust flew in my eye, scratched my cornea. And so I had to go to the hospital. What I offer as part of who I am, I have travel insurance. And I make sure that you have enough health insurance because your health insurance will not work overseas.
Right.
And so you have that in your plan. And if you need it, you use it.
I knew nothing about this until about 7 years ago. I went to West Africa, and one of the guys I traveled with said, you have to get like emergency evacuation insurance. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, if something happens to you, we need to have someone from outside of the country come pick you up with a helicopter and take you to Southern Europe. And I was like, that never even in a million years crossed my mind.
Yeah, people have to do that off of cruise ships. And if you don't, you're going to pay for it either way.
Either way, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, either way, you're going to pay for it. So yeah, it's better to have the insurance. I tell people that all the time. I know of a family, they didn't book with me, but I know them. And they had a trip to Australia. They were going to a wedding. So it was kind of, time.
Right. You
Time-wise,
have
you
to
have
be
to
there at
be
a certain time. Yeah.
And on the way to the airport, he had an anaphylactic reaction. So fortunately, they were able to get the airline to change without fees, but nobody has to do that. None of them have to do that. That was just a humongous courtesy.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's not often that an airline has gone out of their way to help me. been
Yeah.
pretty rare.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
pretty
so was there a situation or something like that that you said, "Hey, I wanna look into this. I wanna look into becoming a travel agent."
Um, yeah, it was kind of a series of things. I had to do 2 emergency trips, and both trips had problems, and I had to resolve in situations that weren't great. My parents both passed away 4 months apart
Oh my
in
goodness.
Australia, and my mother passed away December 22nd in an ice storm up here. And so we didn't make our connections, of course, and so I'm trying to deal with that and grief and,
Right,
all this, and, um, so those things that just made me think, "I want someone to call," like the old-fashioned
right,
brick and mortar. I want someone to call and fix this for me. I don't wanna sit here on
right,
the phone
right.
and do this and be stuck at LAX in a hotel room on Christmas Eve because we couldn't leave.
Oh my gosh.
So that really I've been thinking about it for a while, but that was like, "Okay, I definitely wanna do this. I wanna be that person that, 'Okay, let me help you do this. Let us navigate. We can do this, we can do that,' and have options, not just be on your own and you're a number." And,
Well, I think your
basically.
story is such a human experience story where, like, when you're in an airport and just the hustle and bustle of, like, trying to grab food, trying to grab coffee, whatever, get to you forget that every single person in that airport is having a human experience trying to get somewhere for work, for business, for, the loss of a loved one, for a wedding, for an event.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly for oftentimes a very stressful experience, and you've
Yes.
traveled quite a bit, I've traveled quite a bit. I think our expectations are probably a little bit more realistic and that, like, something will go wrong.
Basically,
Like, if it
yes.
doesn't go wrong, I'm like, "Well, that's an anomaly."
Yeah. Yeah, put that one in the
I just
books.
had the smoothest trip ever to Alaska and back, like,
Nice.
last week, and it was like, boom, hit direct. I went up to the small airline, said, "Hey, can I get on early?" They're like, "Yeah, no problem. Like, we've got another flight leaving early." I mean, that is just so out of the ordinary,
The
worked
ordinary.
out the way I wanted it to,
Yeah.
which is kinda interesting. As you think about, and I'm putting you on the spot here, as you're thinking about, like, just the general traveler, do you have, like, your best practices, your top 5 best advice or tips or something that you give people as they're planning? Because this isn't just, like, a one, like, direct flight. You're often dealing with more complex travel,
Right.
which, again, for $150, that's such a low number than what I was expecting. Uh, do you have kind of a top 5 tips that you give people as they're preparing for a big trip like this?
I do. If it's an event, one of the biggest things I tell people is put the clothes for the event in your carry-on.
I assume that has some history to it.
It does, it does. It's kind of a sad history, but I knew somebody whose brother passed away, and they were in another country, and what he thought he was gonna wear was, of course, he packed all his clothes in the suitcase. The
Right.
suitcase got delayed, and he had to wear some of his brother's clothing for a funeral. You
Mm,
don't wanna do that.
you don't wanna do that.
Right, or a wedding, like, "Oops, now what? I gotta go
Yeah.
get
I'm a
everything."
I'm a bridesmaid or a groomsman, and that was the suit I was supposed to wear. Yes.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, so put that in
Okay,
your
so that's
carry-on.
number 1.
That's number 1.
What's number 2?
Even if you work with a travel agent, make sure you know that, first of all, your passport has more than 6 months on it for anywhere. I don't care if it's Canada, you have to make sure of that yourself. No
Well,
one's
if you
gonna
don't
help
have
you
the
with that.
real ID, you have to travel with your passport.
Correct, correct, yeah.
That's my situation right now. I have to take it everywhere I go. I don't have the real ID yet. That's my fault.
Right, right. I don't have to worry about that, but, yeah, I keep your passport current and photocopy the face page with all the information. Keep that separate from your passport. In
Okay.
case you lose it, you can go to the embassy. You'll have all the information there. It just makes things easier.
Yeah.
And they will help you at an embassy. That's one of their
That's
jobs that they do.
right.
Um,
Okay, that's super interesting. Okay, give me the third one. I'm putting
um,
you on the spot. Just to be clear, this was
right.
not planned. Okay, what's number 3?
Some countries will make sure if you have a one-way ticket, say you don't know how long you're going to stay,
Yeah.
they will make sure you have enough money to do that. And so you don't try to work without a work visa. So
How do you prove that? Do you have to bring bank statements? Do you have to have so much cash on you?
they'll check your credit.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I've traveled internationally. I've always had a return flight, but
Right.
I didn't know that.
Right. So yeah, I know people that have done that. I really haven't traveled internationally one way. Usually I
Right.
do a round trip. And even if you have to change that end one, normally it's not a big deal to change your return flight if you have to.
Right.
I actually prefer it and I think it just makes things easier because you don't have to run into things like
Right.
that.
Okay. I did not expect that one. What are we on? Are we on number 4? Okay, number
Ooh.
4. What do you have a 4th one?
Oh,
Do you have a 4th and 5th one?
yeah, pack your patience
Pack your
and
patience
carry it with you everywhere you
and
go.
bring extra.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't even begin to ask what story prompts that, but I've seen people. We actually have some inside jokes as a family because we've seen people like sitting there, with their phone or whatever. And I remember specifically one guy look over his wife and go, "I'm trying, Linda." And that still, that
Right.
phrase lives in infamy in our house with my kids. Whenever we travel, I go, "Do you remember I'm trying, Linda? Do you remember that?" So yeah, I've seen some meltdowns
Yeah.
in airports.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have a funny story about a meltdown is my sister and I were in Greece, and we had booked our taxi way ahead of time, weeks ahead of time, and they decided, the taxi drivers in Athens, to go on strike. So they were going on strike 15 minutes before our car was supposed to come. Of course, it's not coming.
Right.
Everything shut down. We had to run from our hotel to the train station, which was downhill. It was a couple miles. So we're dragging our suitcases and we get on this huge, just overfilled train. You can
Yeah.
imagine everybody's trying to do what we're doing. And so it goes to the airport and I'm spending another night. So I tell my sister, if you don't make it, just come to the hotel. I have a hotel. And later she told me that the plane was already loaded. She just went up to there and like, maybe they'll take me. And they were saying, no, we can't put you on the flight. And there was a girl next to her on the same flight and she started to cry and they let them on the plane. So sometimes it'll work a little bit.
Sometimes it'll work.
That was genuine tears though.
Yeah,
She wasn't mad.
that's not I got pulled over by a police officer and I'm crying to get out of a ticket. That was like
No. And if you are patient, you can't, people that go off on anybody working in the travel agency.
I've watched it happen.
It's really not fair. It's not all under their control.
No, of
they're
course not.
just the face that you have and
Yeah.
you can abuse it and they're not going to like put you on the next flight because
No.
your attitude.
I watched
So,
it happen. I was in Munich one time and flight was delayed. And I remember watching a young man just yell at the travel agent, "I am never flying this airline again." And it just was one of those where I was like, I was just sad situation of like, is he gonna feel good about that later? I mean, it was
Right.
gonna do nothing. It was gonna do nothing. We were all in the
Right.
same situation. They paid for the hotel, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Right.
Again, it's the reality again that not only are you having a human experience, but so are the people that are working
Right.
at the airlines. Like yelling at them is not helpful.
Right. And they take a lot of abuse. I
Oh,
mean,
I can only
they
imagine
really take,
their
especially
opinion of humanity.
right. And you're stuck on an airplane for 13 hours and
Yeah.
you've got that guy or
Yeah.
that woman.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Do you ever
It's
follow
not.
any of the like viral videos of like travel or flight attendants like duct taping people to do you ever follow those?
I've only seen a couple.
I've never been on
but
a plane that's needed that, but I've always been intrigued. Like if that did happen on my plane, what would I do? Would I be
yeah.
like, just hand me the duct tape, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I'll let you keep your job.
Right. Well, and one of the new irritating things, and I have seen this, is where someone, oh, my girlfriend and I got separated. I want to sit in this seat.
Right.
And they sit in your seat and they won't move. That's just ridiculous. It never happened before. I don't know why
Yeah.
it's happening now, but that's just,
They don't want-
besides it's not safe. You have to sit in your seat assigned because if that crashes,
I was gonna say I knew that was a thing.
yeah.
That's so fascinating. Okay, so gosh, this is so educational for me because I've traveled quite a bit and I've been in so many of these situations. And the idea of having an advocate on the other side,
Right.
I think is really interesting. Who's your most common customer that comes to you? Is it the couple planning for their honeymoon? Do you do big family trips? Do you do corporate trips? Like who is really kind of the person that needs you most?
I do honeymoons. I do family trips. Corporate travel. I mean, I would do it. It's just not my forte. I mean,
Okay.
I do it for my husband all the time. But I want to do groups and
Okay.
And,
So groups meaning what? Like a group, like if me and the boys want to go on a golf trip and we want to
right,
hit 3 different premier.
right,
This does sound really fun,
right. And it's
actually.
kind of selfish of me
Oh, hold
because,
on a second. I gotta send a text. Hey guys, we're going on a golf trip. That sounds amazing now that I think about it. Okay, so someone who's like, hey, there's 10 of us and we're coming from 3 different cities and we have to get the timeline up. Is that
right.
the kind of situation that you see that and you go like,
Oh, yeah.
let's go?
Oh,
It
yeah.
sounds like a nightmare to me.
Right. And that's why you're not doing it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I do, I says I do corporate travel, I says, but the little selfishness in me is, most of the time the people aren't as happy as the ones going on vacation.
This makes sense. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no, but it's a lot more fun
So how do you even begin this conversation? Couple comes to you and says, "Hey, we've got, so much planning to do for our wedding. We just want to have the honeymoon travel taken care of. Here's $150." Where do you start that whole process with them?
Um, we try to narrow down what they want. Beach, mountains. Do you want to go international? All of those questions come first. And then I ask both of them, what's the budget? Because sometimes,
Right.
there's a different answer
They may
between the
not
two of
be
them.
in total agreement.
Right. So I make sure they're in
Possibly.
agreement
Okay.
of
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
the budget is. And I tell them, plan to go over in case there's something, great, or do you want to just stick 100% to this budget only?
I like that. I think that's cool that there's that flexibility because that's the reality. Let's just be real. Do you have kind of like a general rule of thumb when it comes to budget? Do people need to have an additional 20% of whatever they had planned or?
Yes, I would say a week in a tropical place and for 2 people on your honeymoon, more than 5,000.
Okay.
If you wanna stay where there's an ocean view, I mean, you have to think of your honeymoon as a once in a lifetime experience. And
Which for 50% of the population it is.
right, yeah.
That was a really bad joke, by the way. I just want to be clear about that. But yeah, that's no, that makes sense. Is that it's like, and then you don't have to worry so much. I remember, oh my gosh, my wife and I were like 21 when we got married. We were very young. And I remember getting to Cabo and us like finally having a chance after all of the wedding prep to sit down and like finally make a budget for the trip. Do not recommend,
No,
just to be
don't.
clear. It's like
Do
a
not
little
do
bit
that.
stressful, right? So I think that's great because you're saying like, hey, if you allot for $5,000, you can have an amazing trip that doesn't have all the stresses and worries. Do you not just book the travel? Do you also book activities?
Yeah, any
Okay.
tours, anything to do with travel, trains, planes, all of it.
Trains, planes,
Yeah,
automobiles.
I can even rent RVs through.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
hold on. I
yeah.
gotta make another call.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's anything to do with travel. And one thing with insurance that I didn't think of earlier is travel insurance does not cover acts of war.
Interesting.
So you have to keep that in mind. It does not cover.
So
There's not one company that I've found.
they'll not like pull
It,
you out of the country.
if you have to be evacuated, that is, but as far as, paying all your money back for your trip, if it's an act of war, no. They'll get you out, but that's it.
So I've had the pleasure of traveling to countries that are on the like you shouldn't travel to list.
Mhm.
Some in like Central and South America, for example, and had
Right,
the most amazing experiences. Felt completely safe the entire time.
right.
Do you have like recommended countries or recommended different things like that for different types of travel experience? Like if someone's like, "Hey, I want to go to the mountains," you're like, "Yeah, here's the top 3 places that I would go to that have
Right.
the least amount of potential of delays, that have the least amount of potential of active wars, that has the least amount of
Right.
potential of whatever." Do you kind of have that in the back of your mind when you're talking to someone?
Yeah, I do. I have domestic and international. You know, it, some people don't want to travel internationally. They
Right.
don't want the hassle. So I have, places that they can go to. The thing with the United States is there's not a lot of all inclusives. It's just not a
That is
thing.
true.
There's dude ranches, but you don't see it like you do in Fiji, and Hawaii doesn't have them either. Mexico, you can just not leave the hotel if you don't want to.
Can confirm. Have done that.
Right.
I have done that actually. Yeah, that was a more recent trip and that's a completely different experience. It's so it's not for everybody.
Right.
It's not my favorite. I like to go see the cultural, do the cultural experiences and things like that. We had the pleasure of doing Costa Rica with, my kids and go rappel waterfalls and go. But the planning that my wife did and
Yeah.
just the sheer amount of itinerary and all that kind of stuff, it was a ton. It wasn't just an absolute ton. What's
Right.
the biggest reason you hear people don't travel? You're talking to a lot of people that want to travel. What's the biggest
Right.
reason they don't?
I think a lot of people are nervous, and maybe they didn't grow up traveling.
Right.
Um, I don't know too many people like that, but,
Well, I mean, I
you
know
know
I know a lot of people in our area, like, who are like, "I've never traveled to Europe and I don't plan on it." Like, "Why not?" And they're like, "I don't even know where to start."
Right, I think there's a lot of places that you can go, like, if you wanna experience a European city, Vancouver, BC is fantastic. You feels like you're in Europe.
Interesting.
They've got these little water taxis you can take from the hotel, and they really they have parks, they have zip lines that you can go up to Grouse Mountain,
Oh my gosh.
it's and on a gondola, it's fantastic, and that's really close. You can
So
drive.
so in order to work with you, it doesn't have to include a flight. Like,
No,
I could drive to Vancouver, BC from where I am, and you could take care of all the travel arrangements.
correct,
That
yeah,
didn't even cross
yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, if you want lift tickets, you're a skier, want to go to the mountains, I could get lift tickets for you
Oh
arranged
my
ahead of
gosh.
time. Yeah, anything to do with travel and vacations.
Okay, I have to, because I can imagine anyone watching this is probably like, "Mary's seen some things when it comes to traveling." Give me your, like, top 3 that you're like, "I would absolutely 100% go back to these places again."
Greece for one, that
Any
was
specific city or area?
no, I was on Naxos Island in Athens. I didn't even see the big Santorini and all that, which was kinda nice because those are kinda overcrowded anyway, but I would definitely go back there. I will go to Canada any day. I
Really?
love Canada. I
Any
love the
specific area?
um, BC and Alberta, I love. I've been to Toronto. I mean, it's pretty. Went to Niagara Falls.
Mhm.
That's pretty. But
One of
I
the top 5 tourist locations.
yeah, which is funny
I
because
saw that on a statue the other day, and I was like, "Interesting.
right, right. And I would go back to Loretto or La Paz, and we do very often.
Interesting."
Those are places I love.
What about those places? I know a lot of people who travel different areas south of the border. Why those?
They are family oriented. They're not the party towns. Cabo's, party town.
Can confirm. It's one of the
And
reasons why we didn't
right,
leave the resort.
right, and
Like, it wasn't enjoyable to me to
right.
go do the Cabo Wabo and do that stuff. It just
Yeah,
wasn't my
right.
thing. Yeah.
But it has to be a certain kind of traveler because to get to those places, you drive, and it's a couple hours drive from Cabo. Very safe. I mean, we ran out of gas, and someone came with a gas can and siphoned it into our tank the last time we were there
That was
because
not on the itinerary?
that was not
Running out of gas?
right. The
Okay.
rental
Yeah.
company released this car, and we didn't notice there wasn't gas, and nor did they. So we were in the middle of the desert.
Pack your patience. Is that number 4?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez Louise. I mean, that would be, like, life-altering for some people to be
Correct.
trapped
Correct, because you
on a
believe
trip.
if you don't travel, you believe what you hear.
Right,
All of Mexico is not a crazy dangerous place. We've
right.
gone for 40 years. It's not I think New York is probably more scary for me than Mexico. And you don't go to the places that are gonna have problems, and everybody
Right, and
knows. You
everybody
hear about
knows.
it.
Yeah,
You hear about it. You don't go partying and get so wasted you don't even remember your name in Cabo or Ensenada or any of those places. You're gonna get taken advantage of, but
right,
you'd get that in Europe,
right.
anywhere,
I
anywhere.
heard horrible stories about Amsterdam before I went to Amsterdam. It is still one of my favorite places I've ever been to. Just
Right.
immaculate. I mean, incredible. The art, the food, the culture. It was just amazing.
Right.
Had an incredible time.
So if you don't travel and you believe all of this, then you think, "Oh my gosh, I don't wanna go anywhere
Well,
because this could happen
how
or
many
that could
times have
happen."
we had like, and you and I both? I mean, we live in different areas, but still here in Oregon. How many times you'll get a call from someone's like, "I heard it's happening in Portland. Are you guys okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "You kidding? Like, dude, are you serious?" I'm like 2 hours away, and yeah, I'm fine. I'm sitting outside of the coffee shop in my small town, like, and that's so true. I think of a lot of
Right.
cities is like people will there'll be a reputation about, oh, don't go to this city because of fill in the
Right.
blank, or I watched this movie, I watched this documentary.
Yeah. And if you want to travel, my new thing is I want people to discover our own state.
I like that.
I was talking to somebody and they'd never heard of Wallowa Lake. I went, "Are you kidding? It's like the Swiss
Shout out to
Alps."
Wallowa Lake. You know who you are.
Oh,
I got some friends on social media that live there.
yeah, it is gorgeous. I
I've
can't
not
believe.
been.
Oh, you have
It's
to
on
go.
my short list.
Yeah,
That and the Painted Hills. Never been to the Painted Hills.
yeah. There's so much that Oregon has that people just don't know. So I'm actually working on putting a new page on my website of
Fantastic.
just things to go within 4 or 5 hours drive. And Wallowa Lake is about that far. Joseph is a great little town, and we actually did a railroad. They call them rail bikes. So
Oh, very cool.
it
Yeah,
goes down the
yeah.
railroad tracks. Beautiful. It was just fantastic. The mountains, and you're going across like pasture land, and
That's
so
amazing.
there's a lot of things, and I still want to go down. What is it near Ashland? They have zip lining.
Yeah,
I want to do it.
yes. I love Ashland. My wife and I got married in Ashland.
Oh wow.
It's wonderful. The
Yeah,
Shakespeare Festival. There's a lot of festivals down there.
there is.
In
There,
Jacksonville also down there. Yeah.
yeah.
It's so I love that. I love that you have a passion for our own state too.
Yeah.
Because I think people lose focus. They're like, I'm gonna do a vacation. Where are we gonna go? I gotta go big. I gotta go to Hawaii. Right. And it's like
Right.
you could have an amazing experience within
Right.
not just here in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, you're not isolated to just working with people here.
Oh,
You can work
no,
with people all
no.
over the country.
Yeah, all over the country. And that's why I recommend Vancouver, Canada, if you don't want to go to Europe, because it's got so much going for it.
That's very cool.
And we used to take our kids there all the time. And it was fun and different.
That might have to be on my summer list here.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, where have you not been to that you really, really want to go?
Iceland and Greenland and Norway.
Okay.
I would love
Why
to.
those three?
They're different. And I mean, Northern Lights, of course, you want to go see that. And they're places that are still not still, they welcome tourism, because there's
Okay.
some places like
Sure.
I love Hawaii, and yes, go and spend your money there if you can, but wow, they're overloaded. They're overloaded with the bad side of tourism.
Mhm.
And it used to be a joke, like I can spot an American when
Yeah,
they're,
it's a blessing. It's a blessing and a curse. And I've talked to people that live there, that have lived there either long term or short term, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of tolerated.
yeah,
Like tourism is tolerated at some level. I
right,
understand this growing up in Alaska, by the way, so I do have an affinity for
true.
being the other like
Yeah.
non-contiguous United States. That can be hard. We used to mess with tourists all the time growing up in Alaska. We'd pull over on the side of the road and point at like an open field, like there was a moose or a caribou, and then we get back in our car and watch RVs pull over. Not proud of this. I
Okay.
want to be clear about this, but it was funny when you're like 16. So,
Yep.
but I mean,
Right.
I've heard too. Like I have staff in Spain, and I've heard about some of the protests against tourism, Airbnbs, different things like that, because it's driving up home prices. Portugal is an incredible example
Yeah.
of like a mass. I mean, expats
Yeah.
coming over and buying up property in Portugal and driving the locals out of these prime areas. So that's
Right.
a tough one for sure.
Right. And
But
as much as I like Airbnb, I know even our own coast, they don't want those
no, they
short-term
don't.
rentals.
They really don't. Yeah.
It kind of has its own. I mean, I guess with resorts and hotels, they have security and things like that.
Right,
It's
right.
different. You can't do the things that people try to do at Airbnbs. You wouldn't get away with it at a hotel.
It makes sense.
You'd be kicked out.
As you look at where travel is going, because now we're 5 years, almost 6 years post COVID. And I know I had a trip canceled. I was headed back to West Africa,
wow.
and we had half the team was in West Africa. Had to be emergency flown through Turkey. Like I'll never forget that March of 2020. Then there was kind of this weird kind of vibe around travel for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a pretty big uptick with people wanting to travel again? And do you think that like the travel restrictions with COVID, do you think that reflects that? Are people saying like, I can't wait. I don't know when the world's going to shut down again?
I think it's more motivated with personal experiences. Like, what am I waiting for? And I think a lot of the younger generations are like, I don't want the big house. I want to travel. I hear
Yeah.
that over and over and over again. And it's probably a really good thing. I didn't grow up in a big fancy house. We had one bathroom,
Right.
and so I think that's great. And I think especially United States, you really aren't exposed, even though we have a lot of immigrants, you aren't exposed in the way that you would be when you travel. And you really it changes your outlook on life. Wow,
I
they live
couldn't
this
agree
way.
more.
And, it's just, and I think it's really important for the kids to see that as much as you can. Even like I says, even if it's in your own state. Like I didn't know there's a group in Portland that will take inner city kids in Portland to the ocean because some of them live that close and have never gone to the ocean.
Wow.
So even the benefit of just that, it was incredible for these kids. And I found that fascinating. Like, wow, I never would have thought, which is really terrible, but I never would have thought an inner city kid still wouldn't be able to go to the ocean. But of course they can't.
Do you have a personal anecdote where travel just radically affected you, that you were able to have an experience or something like that, and you're like, that's a perspective changing trip or perspective changing experience?
Um, a more recent one was going to Greece. You go onto the hill where the Parthenon is, and you just feel tiny.
Hmm.
And you look at what they accomplished, and those buildings are huge and massive.
And they didn't have AI.
They didn't have AI. Right, and they didn't have a lot of, conveniences like we do, and there's a place in Loreto, a mission that is way up in the hills. They had to drag these huge stone and have stone workers that can fit stones together without mortar and everything, and you look at that and you're like, "How did they do that?" But it's there. It's been there for hundreds of years, so that kind of thing just fascinates me. It's not even one place, it's just the idea of these things got built without modern technology.
Love it. I want to go. I want to go to Greece. Mary, thank you so much for coming and sharing this wisdom with us. It's
Sure.
one of those things I think that, so many people are like, I want to travel, I want to travel, I want to travel. But if you don't plan for it, if you don't have the know how, if you don't have the experience, like you said, if you weren't raised to kind of be, a kind of an adventurous spirit, if you will,
Right.
it can be really, really intimidating. And so the idea that you can just take a lot of that off of people's plate, I'm still stuck on the $150 because I'm like, I can imagine you can save somebody more than $150 by booking through you versus doing it themselves. I'm
Right.
gonna guess. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
of
amazing. Well,
course.
I'm so glad that you were able to come down to the studio and have this conversation with us. So,
Yeah,
what's the
thanks.
easiest way to get a hold of you if someone wants to work with Solara?
My website, go to the solaraexpeditions.com.
SolaraExpeditions.com. We'll add all the links
Perfect.
in the footer of this podcast. Thanks again.
Thank you.